it's evolving, but at the same time for me it's deja vu because I got my first internship in 2008 when we were going through a recession. While people were getting laid off, I was here trying to impress, with my unique resume, and I did it on purpose because the industry was really, really tough, and I knew that if I didn't stand out, I was just going to be buried with, with all the 800 resumes that they received, right? So we're definitely evolving, but it doesn't mean that we can't change, evolve with it, and find opportunities. Especially your generation that is so tech savvy, that can multitask, that can do so many things at a time. Like I almost feel you have somewhat of an advantage now because you know more than los viejitos, right? You know more than the people that are up there. We're like, they're looking to you to kind of show them how the social media landscape works. Like, what can we do? What platforms are cool? Like, what's TikTok? And can I market it? Like, they're looking to you to get all those answers. And it's very different, right? Like back in 2008, they're looking to me like, how do I use Facebook? Now you guys giggle and laugh at Facebook, but at a point, I was the Facebook expert, Now ask me about TikTok. No, I have no idea. So the market does evolve, the industry does evolve, but you will have an advantage. And it goes back to my first comment of do things with purpose. Like if you are TikToking, why do you like it? Why are you doing it? Be prepared to show your value when you do get that opportunity to interview. The other thing is that you need to work a little harder. Yeah, it's just the market we're in. You have to work a little harder. For a long time, they were saying like millennials are lazy and millennials are, they expect everything and millennials this, now it's like you can't afford to be that way. Not that you are, but you can't afford to be that way. You have to push more. You have to stand out. And some of the ways that I recommend standing out, again, I think we've mentioned it again, networking, being involved in an organization. Like even right now, I'm looking for volunteer, no pay, like PR manager for a nonprofit. I'm looking for a media person for a nonprofit. So like those positions can help you. Let's say you get hired by a nonprofit and you're going to pitch media. You're building your media relationships through that volunteer work, so that when time comes that you're being hired and they're asking you, well, tell me about some of your hits, and you can say, I know the editor of Ebony, or I know the editor of this, and I secured this article. You're gonna blow me away, like, whoa, she's already in the game. She knows editors, she knows influencers, she knows this, and this is the time that you can do it because you have time to do it. I guess as you move on in your career, you'll see you get busier and busier and busier, more responsibilities. And this is the time that you have to build your media relationships. You want to be a social media manager? Volunteer as a social media manager. You want to do public affairs? Volunteer specifically on that. So again, back to purpose. Why are you doing things? Because those are going to be your tools in this ever-evolving industry. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I was telling a few months back, I was going to say a few weeks back, but I realized I've been home for months. So all the weeks are blurring together. But months ago, when we were still in the office, there's a brand new assistant who had been hired to the team, was going to go to a big fancy meeting for one of our very, very kind of like the big fancy clients, and the CMO of the company was going to be in that meeting. And they were nervous, and they came to me and, were venting to me and said, hey, I'm nervous. I don't know. I said, no, you're going to be great. Don't worry. And something that I said to them, exactly to your point, Denise, is, everyone in the room plays a role. No one is in the room on accident, right? And there's space for everyone in the room. And just because you're 23 doesn't mean you don't have anything to contribute to that conversation. you might not have the exact same experience, obviously, as a CMO of a big fancy media company that's had, been working for 35 years. But what you do bring to the table is that you're 23 and you understand TikTok and you understand trends and you get influencer. So, own that identity that you bring to the table, that unique, spirit of your generation, of your age that you have. To your point, teach your boss how to use TikTok. That's kind of a cool thing. That's something that you bring to the table that no one else can.
Yeah.
So know your
and
value.
I do want to also add one more thing. It's like it's like you're living it. Be aware of what's happening around you. You know what? There's going to be a lot of opportunity for diversity and inclusion. Like with this whole George Floyd situation happening, companies are eagerly trying to hire more Black and Indigenous and people of color. Like, be ready for that when that opportunity comes, because you're the expert. You're the color person that they're looking for. Like, use it to your advantage. This is going to change, and this is, and you have to be aware of what's happening around you and see how you can make this work for you. Even Maxine, I think you said something about this isn't a presidential election year. Perhaps there's opportunities to volunteer for campaigns. This year is so loaded. Oh my gosh, that look at it, analyze it, and see what areas or how you can use it to your advantage. Don't, boohoo and complain about like, oh, 2020, it's awful. Like, say, how can I get ahead of the game? It's survival mode right now.
And then another thing I was going to say too is that oftentimes you're the target audience that a lot of the brands that we represent want to reach. So what you bring is really important too. So so just building upon that, your knowledge and your experience, and I think that helps us too when we're brainstorming on saying like, how are we going to reach the millennials, or how are we going to reach this younger audience? And we look at you and like, hey, what are you into? How can we reach you and your friends? So I think you play an important role too.
Yeah, I mean, I literally all the time, whenever I need to, figure out, okay, how do I build this campaign? I create like in-house focus groups, and I pull all the assistants and all the associates. I say, all right, guys, I have questions about Snapchat, and I have questions about TikToks, and I want to know, what do you think about Logan Paul, and what do you think about this influencer, and what do you think about that? So yeah, I totally agree. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more question for Marisela and another one for Maxine, and just in the spirit of time, so I want to make sure that, I know we started a little late, and I want to make sure there's time for Q&A to open it up to the participants. And I think Kim wrote that Kim, I believe, right, you're in Miami, so it's already 11:30 over
there.
Kim. Do we want to just go into the Q&A, because we just have like 8 minutes left, right?
Yeah, we could just go straight into the Q&A too. So why don't we open it up to anyone? And just again, to reiterate, if you're not speaking, if you could just please go on, if you could mute your mic, that way everyone can hear each other. And so, yeah, if you want to chat, maybe, if you want to write in the chat, if you have a question, and I can just call on, let's see, let me go into the chat here. Okay, so do we have any questions for our panelists? I'm just gonna wait to see if anyone writes a question in the chat.
Alexis?
Yes, so my question is gonna be a little more geared towards Denise. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Oh my God, it's the Denise show.
Yes, and thank you for everyone for being here. Like, you guys are just so inspiring, and I love hearing from each and every one of you. But Denise, so you said you graduated around a similar time of like a really hard time to get a job, and you always felt like you were a little more on the timid, shy phase instead of like how everyone else is describing you. How did you get out of that comfort zone of like, oh my God, like, my work isn't the best, but you're putting out great material? How do you get out of your head?
You just have to get out of your head. Look, the way you can get out of your head is by feeling prepared. So a lot of people are really good at giving presentations. And some are just a nervous wreck. But at the end of the day, if you know your material really, really, really good, that helps calms your nerves, right? So the same thing applies. Like if you're prepared, if you know if you know what you're talking about, that helps you come out of your head, because you have to tell yourself, I'm prepared. I did my research, I did my work. If feel confident that you'll be prepared to answer any questions. And the other thing is that, you don't need to know all the answers either. Like, we're not expecting you to operate at a CEO level at this point, like, come prepared, show that you prepared, show that you did the extra work. And if you don't know something, say, you know what, I don't know, but let me get back to you. Don't get, at the end of the day, it's people you're talking to. It's a job that you're looking for. It's nothing out of the ordinary. What is the worst thing that can happen? You don't get that job because you spoke too much? I don't think so. If anything, you don't get the job because you held back, right? So just over prepare and remind yourself that you're prepared and that you're not supposed to know every single answer. So put that in your head, and I think you'll get over if you're shy or you don't know how to answer, you're prepared.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I see Maxine also wrote, and Marisela also are writing some answers to your questions here as well. So definitely check out the chat section. I see that Abraham asked, what is the best way to break into the entertainment industry? I don't know if one of our panelists want to answer that for anyone who works a little bit in entertainment, or I'm happy to.
That's you.
Yeah, I'm happy to also.
Yeah, you're gonna have to answer this one, Camila.
Yeah.
I think the best way to break into the entertainment industry is to talk to people. And I think that, I know Denise mentioned this, Marisela, Maxine, your network, first of all, I totally agree with Maxine in saying, do your research, know who you're speaking to, know the executive you're talking to in the room, know about the agency or the studio or the network that you're applying to, know their history, know their assets, know their library of content, make yourself a super fan. I remember I was in an interview with a talent agency years ago, and I studied up, I looked up every single client in their roster, any movie that they had coming out premiering that year, and looking up who the director was, who are the writers, who are the executive producers of the films, who's the leading talent. And I made sure I memorized and I made myself a super fan. So, be a super fan of wherever you're looking to apply to. And also talk to people, network with people. Just like any other industry, the entertainment industry sounds like it's this big, scary, huge industry, which it is huge, but it's actually small at the same time. And everyone knows each other in some way. So it's really, to Marisela's point, and Denise and Maxine, and what they've been saying this whole time is network. Reach out to people, message people on LinkedIn. And when you message people on LinkedIn, the one thing I would say is, be thoughtful and purposeful in what you message. Not just, hey, I saw your LinkedIn and I'm interested in chatting. Thanks, right? Maybe something more, hey, I'm a huge Marvel fan. My favorite superhero since I was a kid is X person. I see that you work there, and I see that in your background, your alma mater is the same as mine. I'm super fascinated. I'd be so humbled and grateful if I could borrow your ears for 15 minutes sometimes this week. What's a good time for you? I will work around your schedule. And that way you're super proactively engaging and you're making yourself seem like a super fan. And by the way, be a super fan too. So that's, to me, like Denise was saying also, about TikTok, right? Like if you want to work in entertainment, know about entertainment. Watch Netflix, watch Hulu, watch Amazon Prime, know what movies are coming out, pay attention to what's happening in pop culture. Because the best way to find a way to work in entertainment is to know about it and to know who to reach out to.
Great. We have another question from Miriam. what advice do you have for students who don't know what they want to do yet? How do they show purpose and passion for something they're not sure of yet? I always tell I'll jump in on this one. I always tell my students, because I get this, often when I got juniors and people who are going into their senior year and they're still not quite sure where in PR because they haven't really had any internships. So they don't really know what field of public relations they want to go into, or they're still maybe, thinking about doing journalism or whatever. I always try to get them to think about what they like to do. And so I have an example. I had a student this past year who really, again, like you're saying, Miriam, she didn't know what area of public relations. And as I was looking at her stuff and I looked on her portfolio, I saw that she had a travel blog. And I'm like, my God, I'm like, hello. And she had no clue or any ideas that there's a huge opportunity in the hospitality, travel, tourism world. I'm like, you could be working for, Camila knows this. She did Tourism of Israel, right? That was her job right before. And it opened her eyes. She's like, are you serious? I'm like, you already showed what you love to do, no matter whether it's sports, fashion, artwork, museums, whatever that you love, you find it, traveling, road trips, whatever, event planning, weddings. I don't know what that is. There's a PR job for that. And there's a whole industry around that. So it's really tapping into what they like to do outside of school or outside of work. That would then drive them to like, oh my God, I love sports cars. I love everything automobiles. Well, there's a huge industry of automobile PR that they can dive into. And like Camila and others said, learn it and know it, like know everything about that. So they can walk in and know who the key players are, who the key media outlets are covering the automobile build, and who are the key influencers who are on TikTok or Instagram in that industry. And so really find what you're passionate about. And it's interesting because, again, you may be passionate about the LGBTQ community and equal rights. It could be, again, artwork, murals and paintings. Well, again, museums, art houses, all of those have PR. Maybe it's drama, theater. You never thought like, all the theaters around the world have PR people. I don't know if anyone else wants to add.
Yeah, I'll just add really quickly, Stephen, to that, because I totally agree with you. Someone once asked me this question too, and the one thing I said was, I would say, sit down one day just by yourself and take out a piece of paper. I know, shocking, like not typing, writing, so like 12th century, and write down all the things that make you happy. Like, what are the things in life that make you happy, that make your heart beat, that make you excited? And find a way to do that every day in a job. And it's not going to be, you're not going to get to do what you love and you're passionate about every day. But to Stephen's point, everyone needs a publicist. There's every industry, every facet of life somehow can relate back to PR. So if you love to travel, there's travel PR. And it's not just tourism boards, there's the hotel side and the tour operator side and the attraction side. And, if you love airlines and cruise ships and everything in between, right? If you love, if you're a foodie and you love going to cool restaurants, there's food PR, right? There's celebrity chef PR. There's so much.
Maybe you just love your dog and you love all animals. Well, again, there's an opportunity there.
So I would say, make a list of what makes you happy and see what jobs are connected to that in some capacity. And you never know where you're going to land.
I'm going to share some tips real quickly before we close out. Can you guys see this? Are you able to see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So here are some tips that our panelists took the time to write down. I don't know if any of you want, I know my students love to take screenshots when I put something up on a PowerPoint. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, I'm going to move to the next page. But, tips to remember, volunteer. Right now this summer, There should be no reason why you're not doing something. If you haven't landed a job, you should be volunteering for a local organization, helping them with their social media, helping them put together a mailer, helping them with their newsletter, whatever that, photography, whatever that may be. Improve your writing skills. You know, look for those free online classes right now.
Yes.
The networking, you know, virtual media meetings are happening all the time. And a lot of them right now, because of COVID-19, organizations know that people are pobre right now, that people are poor. And so they're offering them for free.
Yes.
Because they want to show that they're involved, they're engaging. Don't be complacent, go above and beyond the ask. Stand out, be bold in your work. Again, you're all now part of HPRA, Los Angeles, but look for other organizations to actively participate in and volunteer.
Yeah, I'm looking. I just need to put that plug in there. Go ahead, Stephen.
Yes, and never stop learning, right? Take any free online classes, training, etc. So everyone has the screen, taking a screenshot. Yes. All right, I'm gonna move to the next one. More tips to remember. And so Maxine, want to kind of walk us through some of these real fast, quickly?
Oh, sure. Read, watch, and listen to the news. If you are not, if don't only get focused on your pop culture and your favorite influencers that you're following, but really take time to lean into those top tier business media, from the Wall Street Journal to NPR to your local media channels. It's critical that you understand what is going on in the world around you. This is your chosen field. Read and watch the news. We talked a lot about becoming an expert. I really think, use this time to learn more. If you want to go into gaming PR, become a super fan, as Camila put it. Just really use this as an opportunity to really understand not only who the players are, but what are the issues those industries are dealing with, because that's going to affect future product development, future issues work that they're going to do. Just really pay attention to that. Read a book. I mean, when's the last time, if you're coming out of school, that you read a book just for fun? Watch a documentary, embrace a hobby. This is truly going to make you not only more interesting, but it's going to give you that inspiration. As Denise was saying, you're going to eventually go into a meeting where they're going to say hey, who should we partner with? If you're taking the time to really embrace the world around you, that's going to give you the inspiration to drive your creative and strategic thinking when you're working. When you're working, do your research. We talked a little bit about that already. Do that LinkedIn stalking, and finally, have what we call a GSD attitude. Have a get shit done attitude once you get hired, right? And I think you need to start thinking about that get shit done attitude right now. Meaning you're willing to learn, you're willing to take on new assignments, even if there's an assignment that's outside of your comfort level. Maybe there's an assignment that you're I'm really more of a travel person, and they want me to work on credit cards. How do people pay for travel with their credit card? Find the connection, find the value to really embrace and find those new opportunities, and truly remember, you were hired to share your opinion. Go prepared to meetings, and when in doubt, remember, Google's your friend. You can Google stuff. So I didn't have that benefit when I was starting out, so take advantage of that.
And then finally, I wanted to share, thank you, Maxine. I wanted to share, and let me know if you guys can see this. It's a job search toolkit that I got from an executive recruiter who sent it to me today. So there are career sites that you're going to want to definitely be on. And so, again, can you guys see the slides? I can't tell. Yes? I can't hear you.
We're stuck on more tips to remember.
Yeah, it hasn't changed on our end. I don't know if it's going to take a minute.
Okay. Let me do a stop share. 1 second. Let me pull this off. Sorry about that, guys. Because there's some really good info here. Let me share. Okay, here are some career sites. Of course, you know LinkedIn, but there's other ones I've never even heard of. Jibber Jobber, Guide for Info, Monster, of course, Adweek Jobs, Career Cloud. I will be sending out this PDF to all of you. There's also resume review sites that are free. So they will actually take a look at your resume and help you beef it up and do. You know, you always want to make sure that you are qualifying and quantifying your accomplishments in your resume. So go back and not just put a list of responsibilities you had, but what was your success in those responsibilities? You want to make sure that you're tallying. There is, you know, more professional resume services out there that are not free. There are interview prep sites. So like Geeks for Geeks gives you questions, and you can, you know, you can see what kinds of questions are out there and how to frame your answers. You know, and then there's, go to YouTube. I'll send the link out, but there's, you know, if you just type in tips for video interviewing, you'll get a good, some good, again, tips in terms of, we're all on this new Zoom, Skype interviews, and it's difficult, you know, do you have the right background? Do you have a good audio, and is it clear? You know, are you well lit from the front? You know, can I see your eyes? Can I see your face? Or is there a lot of dark shadows? You know, so all of those things you have to think about, as well as you're not in person, so you may feel like you're over animating on camera in a sense, but it's important that you do, because I think Maricela talked about, you know, demonstrating that passion. But if you're on Zoom, it's kind of hard if you're not sitting right across from someone to feel your energy. They have to hear it. They kind of have to see it. And so it's, you know, looking up at the camera and maybe moving forward when you want to make a point, or doing some sort of hand gesture, you know, all those tips and tricks that you learn, that's where, you know, go to YouTube and you'll learn more about that. Finally, I just want to, again, share our resources with you. 1 second. So if you haven't gone to our site, share screen, so stay in touch. So if you go to the hprausa.com and go to join us, the promo code is class 2020. Let me know if you're having problems with that, but that should get you that complimentary 1-year membership. Again, we will follow up with an email with all this information. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. And again, I just want to thank Camila, Denise, and Maricela and Maxine for being here with us today and offering their tips and their insights and knowledge. For those of you who are not showing us your faces, I would recommend next session, because I have now in my mind,
Priscilla,
I know what Alexis looks like. I know what Melina looks like. I now know what Kim looks like. So if I see them at an event, you know, I get people coming up to me at the HPRA events like, "Hi," I'm like, "Hi." I don't really know you, but if I see now Melina come up to me and say hi, I'm like, "Hey, you're the woman who was on the Zoom session. Very cool." I'm gonna have a more warm reaction to you and remember you and want to help you. So Anthony, Arieli, Cecilia, Juliana, don't be shy. I know you're like, my hair is not done. You know, you may be not in the right place, but now is not the time to be shy.
Fake it till you make it. I haven't washed my hair in 2 days, so fake it till you make it.
That's right. Without a baseball cap. But now is, again, not the time to be shy. Stand out, make us proud, and know that all of these people who are here, Jaime, myself, Maxine, Denise, Camila, we all are here because we want to help you. Do not hesitate afterwards to reach out to us. and let us know how we can. Okay? Thank you guys. Have a good night. Good luck. Make us proud. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
And then, oh, Alexis, Anthony, send me your, here's my email address, Stephen, STEPHEN, @ChavezPR.com. Send me an email so I can get you your gift cards. Cool. Bye.
All right, bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Denise.
birthday, Denise.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. It was a pleasure
birthday.
spending it with you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.